All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the ultimate fire PvP gear guide slash spells for PvP. More of the lazy man's PvP, no raid gear, but I will be saying which raid gear if you're gonna do raid gear and go full on perfect fire gear. Because remember, if you want to hit warlord or anything above knight, you need perfect stats. And mine, I just hit knight is my highest ranking. I think it was 17 something. I don't know. It didn't say. Where is it? What? I thought I hit more. I think it was 17, like 10 or something. But anyways, let's get right into the stats. So I am off. I don't have the mounts and I don't have the perfect pet. But the mount that I do have right now is the narwhal because I bought it. But the mount that you do want is going to be the Stompy Bronto, which you can achieve by opening a bajillion packs worth of packs or crowns worth of packs. And this will give you an extra 8 damage. Insane. Alright, but you do need this pet, to go with it. But we'll get into that. So, 8 damage. So, that would put me off at around... So, add 6 to this. So, 211 damage, 11 pierce, non-raid gear. So, this is no raid gear, 11 pierce. 71 pierce, 11 damage. 100 pip conversion. The shadow pip is what's gonna be the problem. But yeah, I think that's pretty good if you're just trying to do really good damage and your gear's not absolute trash. He's 1200 HP, 62 resist. It's like solid stats. Obviously, knowing the meta, knowing how to actually play PvP, actually how to play your cards is a totally different story, right? But this is gonna allow you to kill anybody. Like 71 pierce, 211 damage. And you can also switch it out for the fairy wand, which will give you more it'll give you more shadow pip rating, but your damage will reduce to 208 or something like that. But anyway, so the gear really easy. The tense abomination rings, you can farm those easily in Darkmoor. Tense abomination, fairy kai necklace, but you can also do just the standard tense abomination amulet, It's really just the lazy man's PvP where you're still dangerous enough to kill anybody, but you're not gonna reach warlord or captain, You'll just probably reach a knight and have a lot of fun. But that's all fire's about. You can have a lot of fun with fire, kill anybody. So you're going with the boots here because it's the highest damage. If you have raid gear, you obviously want the raid gear boots. Then you got the monster hide. You can switch this out for the Fitzmores, and then you have to kind of tinker with your shadow pip rating. So you'll probably put your fairy kai, and then you can do Fitzmore, and then you can still have pretty decent stats. Right here you see, a little too many, but you'll have still decent. But I think just the overall it's more solid, more. I think that, and then everyone has the internal skull mark. I think that's the best one right now in slot for PvP. The deck, I don't have the best deck either, but I do have the fairy deck. You can also use what is this called? The Darkmoor deck. Again, fire is so good right now that it doesn't matter how bad your gear is, as long as you can hit your max damage, right? 71 and at least higher than 200. I would say higher, at least 205 minimum damage or 203 minimum. That's good enough for damage. Everything else, health, HP, accuracy, you kind of have to fill those in. But yeah, and also I think pip conversion is also pretty important because you're using a lot of 5 pip spells, and you really want to get that extra pip for the next round. So yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, the pet. So this is kind of the best pet you should always get. And if you don't know how to make it, there are videos where you can always get your same pet, so just look those up. It's like special kiosk stuff. It took me a while to figure that out because I was new again. But yeah, this is pretty much damage. if you're using the raid gear, right, it's totally different. So I don't know if I have anyone. So, oh yeah, so this is the, he doesn't have all the raid gear, but as you can see, the way better stats, right? It gives you the shadow pip. Obviously, you have to tinker with with the power pip chance, but again, ardent clasp way better. Look, it gives extra resist, more HP, more pip conversion. It's just better. So if you do raids, obviously, you have a way better gear. And then look at the two knit Ron, way better. So you get the extra rating here. So again, raid gear is way better, but I'm doing more of like a poor man's, not poor man's, because I spent a lot. But these are kind of the stats if you're using raid gear. You do lose a little bit of health though. But yeah, this is like perfect stats. The only thing he's down 1 pierce and maybe a little like 2 damage, but everything else is like pretty much perfect. But this is if you want like the raid gear. But yeah, I guess in terms of cards, I think everyone kind of uses the same cards. So for sure, you're gonna need the most important cards. I would say obviously Brimstone. You want at least minimum 4 Brimstones. Obviously, if you're doing more of like a S'mores, then you can do 4. But if you're doing Raging Bull, you're fighting against ice, like very high health, high resist opponents, you kind of want to do more Brimstones. But minimum 4. But I'm gonna do 5 just to be safe. Blades at minimum 4 again, but to be safe, I'm gonna do 5 because I feel like 5 is much better. More often can pop up. Situational Fire Elf, you can have it. Wildfire, obviously you need all 4. Abba, again, I would do minimum 3. I feel bad saying that, but I'm gonna do 4. I would do 4 in my deck just to be safe. But 3 if you're not really using S'mores a lot, and I would do 3. And you're like cycling a ton, you know. It just depends on your playstyle. Again, situational, very good versus like ice, like high health. I won't put it in because I feel like it's more situational. Hephaestus, it depends on your playstyle. Again, if you're fighting against ice, you can get away with using 6, you know, or 5. But if you're fighting like other schools that can kind of kill you pretty fast, you don't want all 6. You know, if you're doing mirrors, like this is useless, right? So I think 4, minimum 4. Every other optional. Again, situational. I'll do 1 just to put it in, but situational, and it's optional. You can have it in your side deck. Again, another situational card. It's really good if you're like fighting against a death, like the last call, and then he uses a tri shield, and you have to take it off so you can take lash damage. Very situational, but again, it's optional. Now S'mores again, minimum 4. I mean, if you don't like S'mores and you're just doing Raging Bull, then obviously 3 minimum, but I would say 4 minimum. Okay, 3 minimum, but I'm gonna do 4 just to keep it even. 5 if you use it a lot. 6 if you really use it a lot. So you can cycle a lot. But again, the more S'mores, the better. You know, it's not the problem. So I'll just do 4 S'mores. Again, these are a must-have on your deck. All these cards. Again, 4 Raging Bull, the same as S'mores. If you're doing more S'mores, you can do less. 3 minimum. And if you're doing more Raging Bulls, you can do 5 and 3 like this. You know, but let's just do 4. Again, these are the must cards you should have. And what I've been seeing, like, other really good Fire players use it. Because I'm not really good at Fire or any school in general, but I like watching, like, good players play. And I just watch them, how they play. That's kind of why I got back into the game. It's fun watching PvP, not necessarily playing it as much, because not a lot of stress. Okay, Amut, again, very important. If you're facing a lot of myths who are trapping and mirror matchups with Fire versus Fire, obviously Amut is the best. Even versus Ice, versus Balance, versus Death, like, everything, it's pretty good. I would say minimum 4. I wouldn't even do 3. Minimum 4. Again, this is if you don't have Nautilus. If you don't have Nautilus, obviously, if you have Nautilus, it's a pretty good card. I think it's a lot better, but it has its purpose, right? They Brimstone, you hit with the Moot, and then you can hit off their trap or whatever. Optional, Helifin is optional. You can have it in your side deck. Any cards you can have in your side deck are optional in your main. Just depends on your playstyle. And again, it's good to have 2 in the main. only because they were so expensive, you know, to make. Again, King Arts, if I'm really doing, I'll do like 2 and 2. Or if I'm really facing a ton of shielders, I'll do more. But again, these cards I'm putting that you need in your deck. Situational, and it's optional. One Fire Dragon. I won a game with it before. It's optional. I feel like everything else is optional, but these are the cards you want. Obviously, never forget. Never forget, okay? Or else you're just GG's. Always need Dark Fiend. Dark Surge, you can have 1 or 2. Again, I think this is more optional. I'll leave 2, though, just in case. Just to make people happy. Furnace, again, optional. You can have it in your side deck, but maybe you have 1 or 2 in the main, because they are kind of take up from buying other better cards. And you can buy these a lot from the Bazaar. You just have to keep looking. Whereas other cards, you could never find a Heliphant. You'll never find a King Art. So, it's good to have maybe 1 or 2. But let's just leave it like this. 1, okay? Attenuate, obviously. Starfall, minimum 2. But for sure, I would have minimum 2. But I'm going to put 4 just to make our deck a little thicker. Steel Pip, if you have all 3 Steel Pips, put them in. I only have 1, but again, I'm not the perfect. So, perfect Pips, you would want all 3. Constantly just Steel Pip, hit, and it just keeps you ahead of the curve. Especially in, like, fighting ice and stuff, like bigger schools. You need more Pips. For that Storm, you're weaving into Storm, obviously. So, for the mirror matchup, and just in general, Catch of the Day, Stormzilla. Again, you can have these in side deck, but they're but they're expensive, so I like having 2 in the main. I'm doing more for tickets, right? For fire, you do it for the tickets, okay? And you feed your death. Your death is your oil machine. That's your winning machine. But anyways, 2 and 2 is fine. You can do 3, you can do 4. It just depends on your playstyle and how often you're fighting your mirrors. Because you need it for the mirror matchup, right? Versus versus fire, versus myth, versus storm. Good for pushing, you know, all this. Ice, again, definitely need at least 2 snowmans, but again, you can have them in your side deck. Maybe you don't want to clog your main. But let's just do it just like this. And then to take the blades against your mirrors. So 1, 2, 3, and 3. I think 3 and 3 is fine. You can probably get away with 2 and 2. It just depends how your playstyle, how the queue is right now. And what I've seen other people, really good players actually play. What am I missing? Why do I have 4 spaces left? Is that it for the main? I guess the rest of the 4 is optional. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. I mean, if I did 2 and 2, it wouldn't be terrible there. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad if I did 2 and 2, just in case. A little other optional card, and if you get weakness, you can push this. That's not too bad. Maybe add a furnace. But yeah, I think this is a solid deck. Again, these are the cards that you must have. Whether the mounts depends on how often you're going to need to use it, you know? It just depends. You just have to play around with it. And the side deck, obviously, you can do 4 furnace, depending on how many you put in your main. 4 furnace, 4 weakness. You can never have too little. I think 4 weakness minimum. Depends on if you're playing. Depends how offensive or defensive you're playing. 2, I would say 2 empowers minimum. Do I use life cards? No life cards. 2 purge. I think you can do 3. 2 minimum though. I would do 2 evil snowman minimum, but 3 for sure is fine. You can have a frost giant in there for bladers. 5 blades. I like doing 5, and then immolate in the side, maybe 2. Then 2 helis, maybe 3. 2 minimum though. 3, and then throwing a dragon or another. I don't know. Tower. Maybe 2 towers would be fine there. another tower. You know what I mean? Let's just pretend these are towers or something. I don't know. Something like that. It just depends on how you're playing. Now, if you're getting a lot of clear hits, obviously you want more heli fence. If they're doing more shielding, you want more of these. And to have two in the front deck as well is fine. But yeah, I feel like this is pretty solid. Again, if you're feeling more deaths, you want more purge. Something like this. You can put these two towers, like tower, tower, more weakness. I feel like these are optional. I'll leave 4 open for you, or 5. But these are, I feel like they're kind of a must. You can probably have a trap clear if you can't pull one. But yeah, I think this is a pretty solid deck and gear set. But yeah, just pretend this is 211. And you have, instead of this mount, you have the Stompy Bronto, which costs 1,000,000 crowns. Because I've already spent at least 100,000 crowns. I did get the permanent for this one, Chompy and Trompy, but not Stompy. So, alright. Pretty lazy man's gear set for a decent... You're having a fun time, alright? You don't expect to hit Captain, Warlord, or Marshal, but you're going to have a fun time. You get to kill good people. Every now and then, you'll kill a Marshal, you'll kill a Warlord. But it's just a fun time.